Did I do when I first met McCarthy?
No.
Let's do that now, shall I?
Yes.
Well, there's a lady here called Mrs. Cafritz, who was supposed to be a Washington hostess. And she had asked me to do that many times, very kindly, and I hadn't accepted. And finally she asked me and I didn't answer, and then she telephoned, her secretary telephoned, had an invitation. I said yes, and I'm very glad to come on, let me come. So that was all. And the next day someone again telephoned and they said, are you really coming to dinner with Mrs. Cafritz? And I said, yes, I'm really coming. And then someone else telephoned, I said, yes, I am coming to dinner. And I'm going to be in New York, but I was coming back that day. Well, I went to New York, and the train was late. This was just 5 years ago, about now. Yes, it's it. And the train was late, and I got in here, and I discovered this maid always had things happening because I was ill, or away or something. And a note was there saying that she was ill, and then a message saying, Senator McCarthy will call for you at 7:15. And there was a little box on the table, too, and from the florist, and I opened it, and inside of it was a white orchid, trying to turn rather brown around the edges very rapidly, and a card on which written in rather splashing handwriting, Joe McCarthy. I said, this serves me right. Just go into the circle from which, if they ask an elderly lady addicted to politics, they ask her to dinner, and they immediately think to provide a suitable escort. I believe they do in these circles. I've never been escorted to dinner, but this is what serves me right. Happened to me. It isn't his fault, he's been told to do this. So instead of leaving a message, which I'd left saying, tell Senator McCarthy my mother's waiting out, train Thursday, and I'm coming out. The dinner was at 8, so why he was sent for me at 7:15, I don't know. I put my head over the banister. Said, oh, Senator McCarthy, how very kind of you to come for me. Thank you so much for this lovely orchid. And will you, I'm not very considerate of Mrs. Cafritz to send you, but my motor's here, and I'm dressing it. Anyway, dinner isn't until 8. And he was standing in the hall giving all the impression of one in an opera cape, with an opera hat held the chest, looking like that, you see. And then I went out to the dinner in due time, and it was a ridiculous dinner. It was a dinner for the Barclays. And I sat between Joe McCarthy and Bob Hope. And had a very pleasant time. And having not gone with McCarthy, what they expected us to do for 3/4 an hour before dinner, I don't know. Drive round, I don't know what.
In other words, Mr. McCarthy left and went to the party by himself.
He went by himself to the party, and I came up in due time. And so I talked to him and said, well, I'm always delighted to see young men taking an interest in politics and this and the other. And he said, very agreeable, and he said, could I have a girl, one friend of mine, could I bring him to see you? And I said, you can bring him to girl any time, love to see her. And the little girl evidently was Jeannie Kerr, who married him afterwards, you see. It took a long time to make up her mind to marry him. That was that. I didn't see Senator McCarthy again, and it was 3 weeks before he made the speech that started the whole thing, you see. Wasn't it fascinating? The most incredible dinner. The Barclay, or Mrs. Barclay, was very amiable. They hadn't been married very long, I don't think, and they all wanted Barclay to tell stories, because he celebrated stories of her, and the storyteller. And Mrs. Barclay said, Aaron, tell them the one about the old grandmother coming down the step ladder. And then he'd tell a slightly greasy story about an old grandmother coming down the step ladder. And Lizzie Charmington was there, and they had pheasants. One of the courses was pheasants. And the pheasants were lying there, surrounded by a rather greyish thing, which Evie thought was wild rice, and she could then herself into 7. And we're excited. It was small, from the way down their chest, you see. It was an incredible thing. These are fantastic people. That was my first meeting, so I said, I don't really know him well, because I was a couple of times after that. So I hardly know him. But still, I was very strongly for what he was doing. I only deplored some of his stupidity. He did this. Bernie Berwick said he did more to alert this country to communist infiltration than anyone. Only he began at the wrong end.
And he alerted the communists so they could hide in due time, didn't he?
No, they couldn't hide. He really was getting them out.
Yeah.
He was abominably treated. And he's not a very bright man. He's a pretty stupid man, I'm afraid. For instance, when he came back from a special session of the Central thing, they will let him go drift down. First he does to attack them, tax committee, and then when the censure was passed, then he attacks Eisenhower, which gave a marvelous out to the people who had voted against him, so they come right straight back and say how they stood by Eisenhower, except for one or two very fanatic McCarthy people. And then, for instance, when the army case was crumbling practically, was finished, he brought in the name of Fisher.
That was the thing that convinced me that there was something